Since the smashing success of my first video, I decided to come back, give the people what they really wanted. A part 2. I even have prepared notes for you guys from this little banana milk memo set. To begin, this story's a doozy. In terms of characters and complexity and things like that, there's not really enough to unpack other than Edgar Allan Poe's own attachment and projection onto the story. So we start off, it's the first of its kind, more or less, in terms of it being a murder mystery detective story. This is seemingly an unsolvable case. Poe creates this to be so complex that only a superhuman could solve it, essentially, which is where Dupin comes in. Dupin has an incredible ability. It's befitting that he is the problem solver of this incredible mystery. And why him? Why a story about a great detective who's not really a detective, an ordinary man who can do extraordinary things? It could be said that Edgar Allan Poe projected his own self onto this main character, seeing himself in Dupin. Every time I say Dupin, take a shot. I will take a shot from my water bottle. It is water. I am severely dehydrated. I've been drinking nothing but coffee and having a handful of trail mix nuts. So I said Dupin twice. Now is the third time we're gonna take 3 shots. So the main character is kind of a stand-in for Edgar Allan Poe. So for just some historical context, Poe would actually be a very avid fan of puzzles and would regularly decode them from magazines and things like that. So he's an avid fan of mystery, puzzles, problem solving, etc., etc. So creating a story like this and then projecting yourself, or at least self-inserting as the main character, it seems pretty on par. In general, because there's a murder of 2 women that happen, it does very much reflect amount of death that Poe experiences in his life, especially of women, like his mother and then his foster mother. At the time, he used to live with 2 women, his wife and his aunt. See, this is why you don't hydrate yourself, because then you start burping on camera. Also, is why you prepare notes before you record, because it makes you have to edit a lot less. That last video took me 2.5 hours. It's a 6-minute video. Essentially, protagonist, he's very smart, he's able to get things done, he's able to separate himself from the crime scene, he can solve things quickly, he can fix the problems of people, he's everything everybody ever wanted and more. Furthermore, big word there, the use of a narrator, it separates Dupin from being the storyteller in a sense. So we don't get to hear his thoughts and his feelings and his perception of the entire narrative, but instead whatever information we get from him is when he speaks and when he interacts with the narrator. In that sense, we can get a detachment from him that he has towards cases and brutality and the gory imagery of the crime. The main character actually talks about how the policeman and everybody else is so caught up in the inhumanity of the crime to actually go about and solving it in a logical manner. And because Dupin has that detachment, but I guess if he's solving murders, is it really sociopathic? That's ability to separate his emotions from that of solving the case, he gets to do what the police couldn't do. And then the police obviously grew a little bit envious because he ended up solving the case and all the things that they weren't able to figure out. So this kind of acts as a separation as well between mind and story. So that's the integral thing. Gain a general idea that the central theme is the dichotomy between mind and story, either Dupin's mind and the emotions, or Dupin's mind and the actual narrative. So the way that Dupin is characterized is that he's calm, cool, collected, rational, and able to solve a murder just like that. He's very, very intelligent. Given that information, it becomes kind of insane what the actual mystery was, which is orangutan. I said orangutan a lot because I am not a perfect person, okay? Ridiculousness of an orangutan being the perpetrator in juxtaposition to the one who's trying to figure it out, the the case solver, the mystery solver, Japine, who is very not ridiculous. It's just very funny. It acts as a very, very hilarious joke. Except I'm not really laughing. I think Poe really wanted you to laugh though, because since this is like the first story of its kind, it's not like jokes or parodies of it existed. It was very much like an intended joke that you were meant to laugh at. I don't really know. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and then forget all of this ever happened. By the way, it actually is tomorrow. It is 4:41 a.m. Probably shouldn't have admitted that. Professor, if you're watching this, it is 4:41 a.m. on the 26th.